Good morning from Tokyo. I just love waking up to this view, but I am going to be getting a bit of a later start today. I just finished up breakfast at the hotel, and I wish I recorded, but I'm going to be honest, I was still half awake. The food was incredible. I thought it was a great deal for a really nice hotel buffet because it only cost $70 for 3 people, and where I live, it would probably cost around $50 per person. This afternoon, I'm going to be heading to Shibuya Sky, which is a popular observation deck in Tokyo, and I've seen a lot of people go there, and there's a great view of the city, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm even more excited for dinner, which is going to be at a restaurant where you can catch your own fish. This morning, however, I'm going to be heading to the Tokyo Skytree area because I have a cool place for lunch. This is going to be my first time trying conveyor belt sushi in Japan, and I've heard it's a lot better than conveyor belt sushi in the US. This is also going to be my first time on this trip using the metro, so hopefully that goes smoothly because last night I got the Suica card. Everything should work good, and I should just be able to scan that and head into the metro, so let's do that now. I just arrived here at Toriton, and I have to admit it was a bit confusing to get here because it's in a food mall right underneath the Tokyo Skytree. There's no signal in here, so I just had to use the maps to navigate around, and it's kind of like a maze in here, so I feel like it was part 2 of Tokyo Station, but luckily it only took me about 10 minutes to find it because this sign is in Japanese. I'm a little bit scared that it might be a long wait because they're at number 26 and we're number 56, but the good news is I'm not that hungry, so hopefully by the time we get there, I'm going to be really hungry and we can eat lots of sushi. I finally found the one bit of English on the outside of this restaurant. On this little tiny part right here on the giant sign. The first item I'm going to be trying is their salmon special today, and they said it was fresh from Aomori. I'm so glad the sushi chef recommended that one. The rice is so delicate, as you bite into it, the rice almost just breaks apart in your mouth. So that's how you know you're having good sushi. And that is the most buttery salmon I've ever had. It is so fresh, not a hint of fishiness. It's just buttery soft as you bite into it. And I love the marbling of the fat in there. That's probably the best sashimi I've ever had. Now for the sea urchin, and I'm really scared for this because I've only had it once in the US, and I really didn't like it because the sea urchin I had wasn't fresh, but I already know this place is going to be fresh. It's super popular, and they always get fresh seafood from Hokkaido, which is known for their sea urchin. So let's give it a taste. You know, this one's just alright. I feel like it's a bit of an acquired taste. It doesn't taste fishy at all, but it tastes a little bit irony and a little bit briny and salty. I'm just not a big fan of the flavor. Now for the unagi, and I already know I'm gonna love this one. This is one of my favorite sushis to eat. That is incredible unagi. There's not a single bone in there. Usually I find some bones, but not with this fish. And it's so delicate, and I think the thing that makes their sushi really special, I'm already noticing, is the quality of their rice. I can tell they're using good quality rice. They take so much care into shaping the sushi, because the texture of the rice is just so good. This is their broiled tuna, which is their #1 special, and I can't wait for this one. This one is incredible, and I can see why it's their top 1. I love the sear on the outside. It's really nice and charred, and I think they contribute to that by adding a little mayo, so it makes it a little bit creamy, and I think it brings out that charred flavor, which I really love with this sushi. Now for one that's really classic, this is just a cut of lean tuna, and it looks really fresh, and you can tell that it's fresh because of the vibrant red color. I love this one as well. The rice again is so delicate, and the flavor of tuna is very subtle. It really doesn't have any fishy flavor at all, and it just tastes so buttery soft. And it doesn't have as much buttery flavor because there's no fat in it, but it's still really tasty. And this one's a little bit better for you as well because there's not as much fat. However, I do have to say I think they might have messed up with this one because there was a lot of wasabi. It almost seared my face off. Now for a final sushi, this is the horse mackerel, which is a really popular cut in Japan, and it looks tasty because it's covered in green onions, and the skin looks pretty cool as well. This is a really interesting cut of fish. The fish itself is very clean tasting and very mild, but then as you chew it more, you taste the skin, which I have to admit is a bit on the fishy side, and I think that's how it's supposed to be. So it's a pretty interesting cut, but personally for me, it's a little bit too fishy, and I prefer some of the more mild ones like the tuna and the salmon. If you're near the Tokyo Skytree, definitely check this place out. Just make sure that you're not too hungry because you will have to wait, but it's well worth it because they put their sushi together so nicely. I just finished up my meal here at Toritone, and I was really impressed with the price. I only spent about $40 US for 13 dishes, so I think that's a fantastic price. Now off to Shibuya Sky. At this point, I lost track of time, and I realized I had to rush to my dinner reservation, which I was late for. I finally made it here to Zao after Shibuya Sky, and now to make a 10-minute sprint here because we almost missed our reservation. Our reservation is at 5:30, and we made it here exactly at 5:45, and they only accept reservations up to 15 minutes after your original reservation time, so we literally barely made it here, but I'm so happy, and I can't wait to try it out. I'm going to be trying to catch their white trevally, which is their biggest fish, and it's also really popular to catch. To start the fishing process, you have to grab a pole, and then they give you a hook, and then you have to hook the piece of bait, and it looks like it's a little shrimp here, and then we're going to go into our tank on the right to catch our fish. Right inside here, you can see the different types of fish. There's some larger silver ones, which is the one we're going to be trying to catch, which is the white trevally, and then the smaller ones are sea bream. Now let's go ahead and toss in our bait to see if we can catch a fish. Ooh, I think we might caught it. Let's go ahead and lift it up, and then they're gonna give us a net, and that should be our fish. And right here is our fish. Now that we caught our fish, we're gonna start eating our course meal, and right here we have our two appetizers. Let's start off with the potato salad. The potato salad's pretty standard, it's pretty good. It's creamy potatoes and the mixture of onions, carrots, and a little bit of corn. And our second appetizer looks like chilled tofu. I'm not sure if it's flavored or not, so let's give it a taste. The tofu is really interesting. It's exactly what I said. It's just cold and chilled tofu, so it's not cooked or anything. So it's really soft and creamy, but it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. Next is our vegetable hot pot, and it's been cooking in the dashi broth, and we have a variety of vegetables in here. Looks like we have some mushrooms, we obviously got some onions, some bean sprouts, and some sort of green vegetable floating on top. I'm not sure what it is. It must be some sort of Japanese green. Let's go ahead and try this vegetable hot pot now. Let's see what these greens are. That vegetable is really interesting. It's really quite fragrant. It almost reminds me of a cross between a Japanese shiso leaf and spinach. It has a really unique sort of fragrant flavor, and I think it's quite tasty. Now let's see what these mushrooms are about. That's really quite tasty. It just soaks up all the flavor of the broth, and this vegetable hot pot is going to be a great side to the fish, which just came out. I got half of our fish grilled and the other half of it deep fried. Let's go ahead and start off with our grilled fish. This is probably going to be the freshest grilled fish I ever tried. This is a really tasty fish. It's so simple. It's just grilled with salt, and it almost reminds me of a cross between a tuna and a tilapia. It almost has the flavor of the tilapia, and it has the texture of the tuna because it's really thick and meaty, and there's no bones in here, which I really like. It's just like a big fish steak in a way. Let's see how the skin is. It looks extra crispy because it's grilled. I definitely wish they gave you a bit more skin on the grilled section, but I think just because it's a fillet you don't get that much, because the skin is really tasty. It's thin and it's super crispy. But now let's move on to the deep fried fish, and it looks like they've made different cuts. Alright, let's give this a taste. I think I got my wish because there is a little bit of skin on the back of this. That is pretty tasty. What I really like about the fish is, again, has that really rich and meaty texture. And then with this, the deep fried batter is really thin. It's just a paper thin layer, so it's not greasy or heavy at all, and it's very light. Now let's go for the head. Most of it is a lot of large bones, which I won't be able to eat, but there is a little bit of meat on it. And that basically tastes the same as the body. It's just a nice cut of fish. However, I do notice this one has a little bit more fat, and I think that's due to the position of it, just because it's on the head. So I think this part's a little bit tastier. Now let's try the chef's recommendation. Today it was the roasted duck, and it looks pretty good. It's a chilled duck. I'm gonna be honest, the duck is just alright. It's a bit on the dry side. I wish they cooked it less. However, it is a pretty lean cut. There's just a tiny bit of fat on top for a little bit of flavor, but I do like the yuzu dressing on there. It's a cold dressing, and it has a really nice citrus flavor to it. They just brought out the udon, and they put it in the same broth that they used to cook the vegetables, so now it's gonna taste like vegetables and dashi. I have to admit, I was a little worried those udon noodles would be a little overcooked, but they're not. They're perfectly chewy, and I'm surprised because they had pre-cooked them before, and then they put them into the hot broth, but it's still really tasty. And I think it goes great with the vegetables in here. They just brought out dessert, and when I was making the reservations, I mentioned that it was my birthday. Although it's not, my birthday is coming up quite soon, so I thought it's close enough to do that. And they brought out this special dessert with a sparkler on it. Let's give the cake a taste. It looks like it's some sort of raspberry or strawberry sort of cream on top. That's pretty tasty. I just wish there was more of it because it's so small. It's a white cake, and there's a layer of plain cream, a layer of strawberry cream, and a layer of strawberry, some sort of strawberry sauce on top. So it's really nice and tart, has a strong strawberry flavor, and I love the really fluffy texture of the cake. They just brought out some more dessert, and it looks like that was just a birthday dessert that I got for free. And now we have the dessert that's included with our course dinner, and today's dessert is some sort of sorbet, so let's see what flavor it is. Oh, that is wonderful. It is yuzu, and it's super intense. It almost just tastes like frozen yuzu juice. It's really tart and sour and fragrant, and I just love it. Overall, I thought this meal at Zao was a really fun experience. I love the experience of catching a fish because I don't know any other restaurant in the world where you can go inside and catch your own fish out of a giant fish tank. If you're in Tokyo and you're looking for a really fun experience, this is definitely something you should do. It's just really unique, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm back from dinner now, and I have to say we had a very successful day. I had a fun time trying out the conveyor belt sushi. I thought that was a pretty unique experience because I've never had sushi that fresh before, and I thought it was a lot better than any sushi that you get back in the United States. And then I had a lot of fun at Shibuya Sky. I will admit it was a bit rushed because of our dinner reservation, but it was still nice to see all the views of Tokyo. And then dinner was a really interesting experience. Definitely recommend you all try it because I've never done anything like that before, and I personally love fishing, so I thought that was really fun. My pro tip for Shibuya Sky is you should probably give yourself 2 hours of time. I only gave myself 1 hour, so it felt really rushed because it's really crowded in there, and if you want to take pictures in certain spots, you have to wait in lines, and I think 2 hours will give you enough time to see it, because you probably don't want to be there any longer, but that's just going to give you just enough time to see everything you need to see. Anyways, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure if you did, give a like, and also make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one here in Tokyo.